Leadership can take many forms, whether it is out on a battlefield, in public office, or at any company around the world. The same skills apply. What are the best strategies to set yourself up for success in a leadership role? Joining us right now are two men who know the answer, former Navy SEALs and co-authors of the book, Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. Jocko, Willink, and Leif Babin joining us right now. Gentlemen, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. So you were sent to the most dangerous of places, trying to take back the city of Ramadi in Iraq. Tell us about the leadership that you needed to exhibit on the battlefield then and how that applies to life elsewhere. Jocko.
Well, obviously you've got a group of people and you're trying to accomplish a very challenging task. The people that you're working with, everyone thinks they're going to be, all the same, like robots, is what people think in the military, but it's actually not like that. They're actually got free-thinking minds, and they've got their own ideas, so you can't just order them around. You have to actually lead them. And it's the same thing we found with the business world. You can't just order people what to do. You got to explain to them why. You got to inspire them, motivate them, and lead them.
And you can't explain leadership in an email or on the phone or speaking. You've got to be there in terms of leadership, Leif.
No doubt. In person is certainly, face-to-face is certainly the best way. And, particularly in combat, when you're asking people to go do things that are risking their lives, if they don't believe in it, they're not going to be committed to doing that, and they're going to ask some questions about why this is going on. So you have to explain to them why they're doing what they're doing, not just so they can understand not just what to do, but why they're doing it, and then they can believe in it. They can go out and execute.
That's how you have the confidence to actually buy into whatever vision there is.
First of all, it's like awesome. There's such a presence from like two Navy SEAls sitting outside. We love you, Kevin.
Thank you.
But we're talking about Navy SEAls right
seriously, no, I mean, there's such a presence having you guys here, and what an amazing thing that you guys are doing and talking about. And I just wonder, when you look at the conflict in Washington right now, the complaints from the American people about the lack of leadership or the weak leadership that we're seeing, to either of you, what would you do to try to change that and try to help those leaders in Washington when we are in tough times right now?
One of the things that I see is a lot of the political leaders, they don't take ownership when something's wrong. Instead, all they do is point the fingers. And, obviously the name of our book is Extreme Ownership. That means you take not just ownership of success, but you take ownership of when there's problems and when there's mistakes happen. And you hear all the time just finger pointing. And I think that's a significant problem.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you're right. Extreme ownership. That's why you titled this book Extreme.
Absolutely.
I think the issue there, too, is that if you don't actually take ownership and say, hey, listen, our team didn't perform the way it should have, or this strategy didn't work the way it should have, we're not winning. If you don't actually say, hey, that's my fault, I'm going to take ownership of this, you can never actually come up with a solution.
Yeah.
And you never actually change the behavior necessary to overcome those challenges and win.
So have we taken ownership of what's going on? I mean, when you think about the fact that Russia has invaded Ukraine and now has troops in Syria, when you think about the fact that ISIS is still getting even more aggressive, do you think the Navy and do you think that the military in general feels like there is a strategy in place?
I think that when you see we have a commander-in-chief that's saying that Russia's acting out of weakness, which, I mean...
It doesn't feel like weakness.
That's denial, right? That's denial, that's excuse-making. And the other thing about extreme ownership is it requires humility to say a brutally honest assessment of the facts, so that you're not skewed by ego or agenda, but it's about the mission and accomplishing the mission. And I think, unfortunately, we have an administration that is absolutely unable to do that.
So one other thing, and by the way, did you already point out that that's Jenna Lee's husband?
I did not.
I know that Jenna Lee's she exercises a lot. I know that's probably a big family activity in your household.
It is.
But you guys actually say exercise is an important key to success. Why is that?
It's a big piece of what we do. I mean, one of the mantras that Jocko lives by and kind of taught me and the rest of our task unit is discipline equals freedom. And that if you want the freedom to be able to perform well, whether physically or you want to fiscally, if you want to save money and have the freedom to actually buy the things that you want and invest in a home or send your kids to college, you have to have the discipline to save that money. So physical exercise is a big piece of that, and that's certainly a big piece of what we do.
No wonder Jenna looks so beautiful all the time. Now I know her secret. So that's interesting. Discipline equals freedom. Explain that.
Well, as Leif just pointed out, if you want to have financial freedom, you've got to have financial discipline. If you want to have more free time, you actually have to have a more disciplined time management schedule, right? And it's the same thing with a company or with a business or a team. The more disciplined your element is or your people are, the more freedom you actually have to operate. So if you have good standard operating procedures as a company, you can actually operate more freely because people know what to do. They know what the parameters that they need to operate within, and they can execute without specific guidance because they understand what they're supposed to do in a disciplined manner.
Really interesting ideas and leadership in this book. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it very
Thank
much,
you.
and thank you for your service to our country.
It was an honor to serve.
Very much. We are talking this morning, Jocko, Willink, and Leif Babin there. Hillary.